Hello, everyone. I'm Carmen Flórez-Mansi. I'm the choral director for the Santa Fe Symphony Orchestra and Chorus, and I am delighted to be with you all today for Facebook Live. This is very exciting and something I have never done. And so this is going to be a wonderful adventure together. I'm looking forward to your questions. Catherine, I want to make sure that you all can see me. Oh, I can see that Guillermo, Maestro Guillermo Figueroa has checked in. So how wonderful to see you all. And I'm delighted to be here to answer some questions about our upcoming season, about really anything that you all are interested in hearing about. The first question that I want to address today is I think probably the most pressing question is the safety of our choristers coming. And so our first question is from Judith Merkline, and she wants to know, how do you plan to keep the Santa Fe Symphony singers safe during this pandemic? Will choristers wear masks or have shields if need be? And well, as you know, we stopped rehearsing as soon as we got the word that things were becoming dangerous. As you know, things are progressing very quickly, and we stopped our rehearsals the first week of March, right before our concert for the Hope for the Planets. We were so excited to perform for you all, but it was just not safe to proceed with our choristers. And so I have been doing a lot of thinking about this. As you may or may not know, I conduct the Santa Fe Symphony Orchestra chorus, but I also conduct a 54-voice chorus at St. Michael's High School and several choruses at the Cathedral Basilica. So there's a whole lot of people in my care that their safety is really important. So we suspended all choral activities, all rehearsing. I've been doing rehearsals through Zoom with the school choristers and with the cathedral choristers. Unfortunately, I have not found ways to have the current technology work for us. The person that's hosting has to do the singing and mute everyone else. So that's not working. So we need to have some computer programmers come up with some wonderful software for choral rehearsal. But in terms of things coming back to normal in the fall, I've spoken with Daniel Krupe at length about how the safest way to proceed. And of course, we'll have to see how things go week to week. But we may be able to do rehearsals in smaller form with a much smaller group of people spread out. As you know, we rehearse in the cathedral, and so that is a very big space. And so we would be able to spread everyone out if we did smaller, let's say, octets or groups of 16 and or smaller groups, however that would be. We also have rehearsal tracks that we use in our preparation ahead of time. And so we would obviously be using those as we have done in the past, and then bringing smaller groups together if it was safe. Now, we would not bring anyone together if we thought in any way, shape, or form that we would be hurting anyone or putting our singers at risk. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that the singers and our instrumental musicians and our choral musicians and artists, that we are safety is our first concern. So thank you for that question, Judith. Our second question is from Lori Rossi. And thank you, Lori, first of all, for all that you do for the Santa Fe Symphony Orchestra and Chorus. We're super grateful. Her question is, you hear people say a person with a good ear and a good deal of knowledge about music can tell the difference listening to audios as who might be conducting based on the sound. Is there an equivalent in the choral world with choral conductors? I say absolutely. I can be listening to the classical station and hear something and I'll know what recording that is and who's conducting it. For example, Robert Shaw's recordings, I think he did like 44 recordings of choral and orchestral works. I tend to know if that is his work. I know when it's the LA Masterwork Choral, Master Choral, I tend to know when it's them. Obviously, our beloved Josh Haberman for the Desert Chorale, any of the recordings, I can tell that that's him. Also, the recordings of John Rutter's works, I know his works very well, and I know the recordings of his works very well, and I know the ones that he's recorded, and so I can tell immediately who that's him conducting. So I definitely think so. Let's see if we have some additional questions. Okay. So from the symphony office, I have a question here. What role do you think the symphony chorus plays in the fabric of the larger symphony? And why is it valuable? I think that our relationship is a marriage, hand in hand. I certainly know that Guillermo and I have a wonderful working relationship, have a great admiration and respect for each other's work, and also as people. And so we work very well together. And I think that we have continued in these last 2 years of my tenure, I'm going on my 3rd season, that the utmost professionalism in our preparation for our work together is critical to us building that and continuing to build that relationship. And so I'm very excited about continuing to build that. And I think it's at the heart of what we do, that we have the mutual admiration for each other, that we hold each other in the highest amount of respect and esteem, and we work very hard to support each other with our positive attitudes toward each other. I know that when we come together to do Messiah each year, it's so great. It's like coming down home. We all get to see each other for the first time usually of the season, and it's so great. I know for me as my first year preparing, when I prepared Messiah for the first time, to have the chorus applaud for us after the first movement in which we sang meant the world to us. So we are really very honored to be part of this wonderful organization, and we're going to continue this coming season with all of the wonderful things that we have planned. Okay, we have a new question by Michelle. Thank you, Santa Fe Symphony, for finding solutions so we can dream of hearing you again safely. What are you most excited about? Oh gosh, the whole season is so exciting. I'm really wanting to perform the Lux Eterna that we are not able to perform this year for our Memorial Day. So that will be our first performance at the beginning of November, the Lords and Lux Eterna. So I'm looking forward to that greatly. I am looking forward also to our annual Messiah. It's a wonderful sing. Some people ask me often, are you going to sit in the audience or are you going to sing? And if I can sing, I'm going to sing. And so it's fun to sing that every year. And I always feel bad for the person in the soprano section that I sit next to. I kind of change it up because I know everybody's parts. And so often I'll come in singing the tenor part because I know it, or I'll cue the basses. And so it's a bit of a challenge sitting next to me oftentimes for when we are actually performing, but it's great fun to prepare it. I'm also greatly looking forward to the Stravinsky concert in the spring in April. You may or may not know that Igor Stravinsky performed in the cathedral several times in the 60s. He performed the Symphony of Psalms in the Cathedral Basilica in 1960. And as you know, the Symphony of Psalms is a three-movement choral work that's extensive. It is very challenging. It starts off with the text of Psalm 38 that is imploring God's help, then goes to Psalm 39 in the second movement that is trusting in the faith of God and that God will always be there. And then it's triumphant ending with Psalm 150 and that good will always triumph. So we are really looking forward to that masterwork. We're looking forward greatly to the Beethoven's Ninth, and so that unfortunately did not happen this season, but hopefully in another season it can happen. But I'm really looking forward to that in the spring. Okay, let's see. Okay. Guillermo is asking me questions. Let's see. Carmen, can you talk about the difference between conducting an orchestra or instrumentalist versus a chorus or singers and the similarities? I would be happy to do that, Maestro. So there are a lot of differences. I'd like to say that the voice was the first instrument that we were given. And so it is very primal to us, to singers, to every human person has its own individual voice. And so some choral directors like to use a baton when they conduct. Others do not. They think it's more fluid to use just the hand as their means of conducting. I tend to use a baton when I conduct just for the precision of the piece. I tend to be able to, and because the symphony chorus is so large, for me, they're able to see and be clear with more precision. Often at the cathedral, I conduct instrumentalists, a small chamber ensemble for our larger events. And so, I have to be very, very clear, very, very articulate with what I'm asking for instrumentalists and for singers. So I think, singers get used to the style of each of their conductors. And so some choral conductors use very small gestures. Others are very dramatic and very fluid. I tend to be in that category. Guillermo is in that category. And so I think our styles match up pretty well. I hope that answers that question. Let's see, questions from Barbara Morris. Let's see here. Do some of the chorus members come from outside Santa Fe, like the symphony members? Do they sing in a variety of choruses as well? Yes, we have many of our singers come from all over. We have several that come from Albuquerque each week. We have several that also come from Los Alamos and out near Chipodero. Some from El Dorado, which is north of Santa Fe and beyond Pecos, and through there. So we in Bernalillo. So we have a lot of folks that come to sing from outside of Santa Fe, and obviously many from Santa Fe. Most of the choral singers that are in the symphony chorus are singers that sing either and many other choruses. Many of them sing in some of the symphony, the other choirs here in Santa Fe. They also will possibly sing in their churches or synagogues, and so choral singing is part of their life. And so this has been a very difficult time for us as choral singers because we have not been able to gather at all. So they're very experienced choral singers. Thank you, Barbara Morris, for that question. This question is from Jean Gallagher. And hi, Carmen, can you talk about who drives the decision on new pieces to work on together? Who would bring things to the orchestra knowing there's a great choral part? Well, that's one of the things that I love the most about this organization is that we are very collaborative. There's a committee that selects the music for the upcoming season. I select the music for the choral concerts that are solely the ones that I conduct. And the rep for that. However, on the ones that we collaborate with, for example, the Christmas concert, which is carols and choruses, I select the choral works, and then Greg Heltman and the Symphony Brass select what they're doing. We've had guests on those programs, and so they will tell us what they would like to do, and then based on what I've already selected, then we kind of create the concert that way. On the Memorial Day concert, Nicole Maniaci, my dear friend and colleague, she has a big part of that concert as well, because we collaborate with the strings, and so they usually do half of that concert and we'll do the other half. So we kind of work it out in keeping with the character of the concert, that it tends to be kind of heavy on patriotic hymns and that sort of, or patriotic anthems. And so, but for the larger works, Guillermo will ask me and Daniel will ask me ahead of time. For example, the Hope for the Planet concert, the Rudder Mass of the Children was my suggestion. And then after, Guillermo and I talked about the Symphony of Psalms. So it's really a collaborative process in terms of coming to what we are doing. Okay, let's see if we have some additional questions here. I'm going to go to Daniel Kripke's asked me, I've already covered it a little bit, but I'll just make sure that it is a tough sing, the Symphony of Psalms. It is very challenging repertoire, and I think that our chorus is looking forward to it. I can't tell you how many emails I have received lately of our choristers eager to receive the music and begin working on it. And so that makes me really, really happy. And the work ethic within this group is so tremendous. As you know, we are comprised of really fine amateur singers that are the best around, as well as professional singers. And so everyone's working really hard to make sure that we do a great job. Let's see. How's it like to sing in a space like the Lenzik? Well, you know, we're so far back when we sing Messiah that it seems it's kind of hard to hear yourself. The chorus knows their repertoire so well when they get there. So, and we practice in the same way that we perform, making sure that we're in the same spaces so that we can have as much familiarity in sound as possible. It's a little bit harder to hear yourself, but it's much drier space than it is at the cathedral. When we do our performances at the cathedral, the sound is so bounces around, and it's a much wetter place. And so, in a way, I think it's more difficult to sing in the cathedral than it is in the Lenzik. However, I love to sing in both, and I think that it we do a great job in both places. Okay, so we have another question. Let's see here from Catherine. It's from Elenita. I think this might be Elenita Salco Chavez, but I'm not sure. It only has her first name. So how important is it for choral singers to learn how to sing with their part and with other parts? Would it be more efficient or blend better to sing mixed or in separate parts? That's a great question. I think this is from Elenita Salco because it sounds like a question that's coming from a choral singer. So I think that it just depends. I think for choral works that are very fluid, let's say the Lordson Ave Maria, or something like that, that's very fluid and lush. The blend is better when the choristers are mixed. I tend to like to scramble the parts so that we don't have any one part sticking out. For something like Messiah, for cueing, it sometimes is better to have them in their sections, and they're stronger for those big works. So all in all, it really depends on the works. I think for a cappella music, any polyphony, I think it needs to be to have the chorus mixed as much as possible, or have them not be in sections. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. I have another question here. Gosh, our time is going by so quickly. What made you want to move beyond exclusively singing to becoming a choral director? Oh, that's a great question. Many of you may or may not know that I am first a soprano. I'm a singer, and have performed a lot as a choral singer, as a professional choral singer, and as a professional soloist. And so I have multiple lives that I continue as simultaneously. I've been music director and choral director and liturgy director at the cathedral for many years. Now I'm just the music director. My colleague Gabriel Gabaldon is the liturgy portion of that team. But I have been, directing choruses for, 25 years. And so it was very a natural progression to go from being a singer to being a choral director. And from my very earliest days as a musician, singing in a chorus, I just thought it was one of the most beautiful, incredible experiences. You are using your voice. As I said, it's the most individual gift that we have. And when we're able to use that and share it with a group of people within a chorus, it is magical. And I think the other part of the magic of choral singing is that we can't accomplish that great masterwork by ourselves. We have to have all of the choristers singing together. It is the greatest of collaborations, the same way it is with the symphony orchestra, and even better yet, orchestra and chorus together. There's 200 people making an incredible sound all together live, and fixing and emoting goodness and love and tragedy or whatever we're singing about at the same time. So it's just it was a natural progression as a singer to go to choral conducting, and I have just really loved it. And it has become, I think, equally my love as singing is. I love that watching folks accomplish something that they never thought they could. And I also love that you don't have to always be a rock star to be a rock star in a choir. You have the ability to come together and make something great. And there's always, I use the analogy with with my students often is that choral singing, you have a house, you have the foundation, you have all of that may be the stronger singers or the professional singers that hold, but each singer's voice really infleshes that. And I also use the rose window. There's a beautiful rose window in the back of the Cathedral Basilica, and it's got hundreds of colors, beautiful colors, and some are more prominent than others. But if one of those little colors is missing, or one of those pieces of glass is missing, it's not quite as beautiful. So that's what I think I love the most about being a choral conductor, is that you can pull out this beauty that folks sometimes don't even know that they have within them, and you can touch them in such a personal way. So with that, talking about being a singer, this time of COVID-19 quarantine, I've been able to sing so much more and practice. I haven't been able to practice as much as I would like during my normal regular life, juggling all the things that I do. And so this kind of time of slowing down has afforded me a lot more time to just sing and get my chops back and have a really great time singing beautiful repertoire that I haven't sung in a long time, and do some fun things just for myself. Although my family probably wants to go on a long hike because it's super loud, but I have other musicians in my home. So they also too are practicing. So there's a lot of music coming from my house. Okay, let's see here. From my husband, Tom Mansi. Where do you get your drive for perfection? Is it from your parents, motivation from your husband and boys? I think that's a loaded question, but I will answer it. My drive, I think, definitely was instilled from my parents. I'm the youngest of 12. Believe it or not. And my parents were very faith-filled, driven people, farmers that worked super hard and to provide for us and gave us these incredible opportunities. And so I think I've always had the drive to do the best that I could, just in gratitude for them. In terms of my current inspiration, always my family, my beautiful boys, Thomas, Luke, and Esteban, and my incredible husband of 26, we're going on 26 years this summer, Tom Mansi, who is at every performance and hears all behind the scenes, as every conductor's spouse or partner does, and is there through the creative process, and then there for the fun part, which is the performance. So absolutely, you guys are my backup always when things go well and when things don't go so well. So okay, another let's see, do I have another question? Let's see. Another question regarding the safety of singers. It is, what do you think the science suggests about when singing in a chorus might be a safe and viable activity again? I really can't say. I listen to the news every single day, listening to how the coronavirus is spread. I do know that singing can be just the nature of choral singing in general, of diction, is the spraying of the air that and our crisp diction, and so it is very much of a challenging question, and we are very hopeful for the fall that we may be able to start rehearsing and gathering again in this way. But of course, we will monitor what the medical professionals say, and always keep the safety of our choristers and also of our instrumental musicians and choral musicians at the top of our priority. Let's see. What is my favorite part? What is your favorite part about conducting the Santa Fe Symphony Chorus? So my favorite part is coming together right before rehearsal and hearing all the activity of everyone gathering, especially at the beginning of the season when we haven't seen each other, and then coming together and creating this beautiful music. What I have loved over the past couple of years, what I've loved to see now that I see is a diversity in our chorus. We have a diversity that has grown, which makes me feel really, really good. I hope that my part has assisted in that. I also love to see that we now have high school apprentices that are really talented high school students that are able to audition and are accepted to sing wonderful choral music and have an experience that they would not be able to have in their high schools. And so I think we had 11 this year, a lot of them from St. Mike's, from my choral program, but really have done an incredible job. It is so gratifying to see a work come together. We rehearse every week for 2 hours, and it is just spectacular to watch the creative process from us working in sectionals, then coming back together. We have a core of 12 professional singers that I called the chamber chorus within, that have done works by themselves and also expanded their roles. They used to just be ringers, but now I really find that they have become a wonderful part of the creative process, taking sectionals, really section leaders helping with the sound. And I'm eternally grateful to all of the chamber singers and that have been with me now for 2 years and will continue this coming season. So I'm very grateful for that. Let's see. Okay, this is from Frank Hirsch. Hi, Frank. Thank you for all you do for us. We're so grateful. He can't figure it out. Okay. This is very interesting and very lovely. Carmen, thank you for your leadership. We are so pleased with everything you have done for the symphony chorus. Thank you, Frank. It means a lot to me. And we will continue to work hard to make sure that next season is as spectacular. One more question. If anyone is interested in auditioning for the symphony chorus, but maybe nervous to audition, what advice do you have for them? So we are, as you know, everyone is auditioned for the symphony chorus, and instead of singing an excerpt from a piece that we may be preparing, I ask them to choose a classical piece of music, an art song, something from Sacred Rep that shows off who they are in their voice in the best way possible, and ask them to prepare that. As you can see, I would tell them that I want the best for them. I always am looking for the good things about their performance, not necessarily to catch something that I don't want to hear. And so I'm always very positive in my auditions. I tried to calm people and make them feel very comfortable. And so I always say, if you prepare well, then you really have nothing to worry about. I prefer to have someone come in and be well prepared and sing something very well. It doesn't need to be, an opera aria. It doesn't need to be something very technically difficult. It just needs to be prepared well. If someone comes in unprepared, it shows how much they care about what they're trying to do. And it's a bit of respect for my time and for the person who's playing for them. So I think a well-prepared audition always, or most likely, will end well. Let me see here. Last question. Where do I hope to see the choir, the chorus in 5 years? I hope to see us to continue to grow, to continue to foster the love of choral singing in our community, and to really continue to represent the beautiful diversity and the talent in our city, and the multi-generational, multi-talented, multilingual community that we live in. I hope to also have a lot more collaboration with other groups. As you know, I believe it came out in the paper today that we're collaborating with Chanticleer in May, which is an exciting endeavor for us. But to do powerful works of music that will really bring tremendous light, and also to shine on important things in our time. Jake Rumstead has some beautiful choral music that I think would be wonderful for us to perform in the future. Okay, I think I have, let's see here. I have one more question. This is from Alexa. And are you sad that we are not having a symphony anymore? Alexa, we are very sad. I figured that it would be coming, that we would be needing to cancel the end of our season. And when it actually came and I got the announcement, I was very sad that day. And like I said, I knew it was coming, but it just was very profound that we would not be able to continue and to finish out our season. We had so many beautiful plans for the end of this season, but we're really hopeful for the fall. And Daniel and Catherine and everyone in the symphony office is working so hard to promote and get things ready for us. And I know that the instrumental musicians and the choral musicians are eager to get back on stage and to be together. But we are really concerned about our safety. And so we'll continue to work towards that and be hopeful that we'll be able to continue with our beautiful season that's planned for the fall and for next year. Well, I am out of time, it looks like. And so this was such a wonderful experience for me. And I am really grateful to have the opportunity to come and be with you today to connect. I think it's really about connecting with our community, and for us to see each other, that we're all doing well. And so I really want to thank you on behalf of the artistic team and all of us at the Santa Fe Symphony Orchestra and Chorus for your support. Thank you for coming to our concerts, for the giving back your tickets, for taking vouchers for next year, all of the things that you're doing for your sponsorship, and just for the beautiful notes of gratitude that we've received from you. And know that we cherish those, and we cherish you, our audience. So thank you for your time today and for your thoughtful, insightful questions. And I look forward to being with you again in the fall and performing beautiful music. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.